Well, you can see I was working on getting the badge off of the frame, the head badge, which was remarkably easy. The next thing I'm looking at is these pedals. This is that bubbling that I was telling you about. It's so weird. It's almost like the ball bearings have traveled out from the cups and into here, but how this got deformed, I don't know. As it turns out, in my stash of items from the Schwinn Honey Hole, I have a replacement for this. It's too long, but I can cut it down, obviously. These are much smaller pedals than was on a bigger bike. But the issue is how these pedals come apart. And I'm seeing that for some reason this is a nut, but it almost looks like this end piece, you know, because it's just like a carriage bolt, but I don't think it's threaded, and I'll tell you why. In the same bag that had the little shaft, there was also one of these. Now this one is bigger, has a bigger head than the ones on my pedals here. So I'm assuming that the thickness also will not fit on the inside here. But the point is, it doesn't have a thread on the end. It's like it goes in, and for some reason a nut is placed over there, and then it's pounded down. You can see that here. Or maybe on this one it's better. See if I can get that in focus. So I don't know why that would be a nut, but in any event, I think what I'm going to have to do is cut these off and maybe replace them with like a carriage bolt that then I can use a nut on, like with a lock washer or maybe some blue Loctite, and then replace this with this shaft. But I'm not sure. I can hear the ball bearings in there. But also, this isn't going to be impossible with one hand, but you can see they're real loose, and they shouldn't be that loose. So I just want to replace these. So what I think I'm going to have to do is just get a cutoff wheel for my Dremel and cut these off and start fresh. But that's not what we're going to do today. Today, I did put some air in both the back tire and the front tire, mainly just to see if the inner tubes were good, and they are. So we are going to take this back wheel apart and clean it up. That's what's happening on this episode of Featherstone Bicycles. Get this project started. We'll get the air out of here. There's a little bit of cracking here on the side. And here, here, and here, but the tread life is pretty good, and I'm sure to get an original one of these would be prohibitively expensive. leave the hub intact for the time being and start to get the spokes off of here. Tell you, this is probably the rustiest rim that I have ever worked on. So our tried and true method here with the wire wheel on the drill, on the cordless drill, hopefully will not fail us. I'm going to get on to just cleaning up the spokes a little bit. Before I started taking that back wheel apart, I did check the number of crosses, and it wasn't until I actually started unscrewing the nipples that I said, hey, wait a minute, I better make sure that the pattern is the same as far as starting the wheel as I'm used to with the larger 26 and 27 inch wheels, and in fact it was. The other thing I found when I was cleaning the spokes was that a few of them were relatively straight, but most of them were, like as you see here, and including this one, which, if I can pick it up, didn't even clean up very well it's pretty rusty and pitted. So luckily, I have a lot of spare spokes. If you'll recall back to the Schwinn Honey Hole bonus episode, and in fact, I have 7 5/8 galvanized. So I think I'm just going to use brand new spokes. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for sticking with me, and I hope to see you next time on Featherstone Bicycles.